What if I told you that the worst thing that ever happened to you is actually the most expensive tuition you never wanted to pay? Think about that for a second. We spend so much time trying to engineer a life that is perfectly smooth, completely predictable, and entirely bubble wrapped. But let's be honest, life doesn't care about spreadsheets. It cares about our 5-year plans. Today, we're talking about adversity, not the sanitized, everything happened for a reason version you see on motivational posters with a sunset. No. We're talking about the muddy, messy, middle of the night, staring at the ceiling kind of adversity. So let's get started. Welcome to the Catalyst Podcast. I'm your host, Jason. You know the deal, folks. You can catch us on all your favorite platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. You can also listen to our episodes on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and our home at Podbean. If you want to reach out to us to be a guest or contributor, catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com. That's catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com. Be part of something truly transformative and join the Catalyst community. Welcome to episode 153, 4 Ways to Move Past Adversity. So let me paint a picture for you. A few years ago, I had what I called my Black Tuesday, or African American Tuesday. I'm kidding. All right. I was running a business I poured my soul into, and in the span of about 6 hours, our biggest client pulled out, and my laptop screen did the literal blue screen of death. And when I walked to drown my sorrows in a comforting bowl of cereal, I spilled the entire gallon of milk across the kitchen floor. I found myself sitting on the floor, weeping over coconut milk, realizing like I was in a tailspin, right? We've all been there, right? Maybe for you, it wasn't spilled milk. Maybe it was a layoff. Maybe a relationship that came up glued, or a health diagnosis that knocked the wind right out of your lungs. Something like large cell B lymphoma, right? So according to a global study by WHO, the World Health Organization, roughly 70% of people will experience at least one highly traumatic event or severe adversity in their lifetime. So if you feel like you're the only one taking hits right now, look around. And there are a lot of people who think they're the only one who are in these situations or have these problems. I know of a lot of people who are like that. You're not. You're not the only person, right? You are in a very crowded area of company, right? We're all just trying to navigate the bumps. So today, we're breaking down 4 deeply practical modern ways to move past the hard stuff. Not by pretending it doesn't hurt, but by driving straight through it. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. All right, so the first way of the 4 ways is name the monster. Name the monster, right? Name it. We live in a culture of toxic positivity, right? You know what I mean, right? People who tell you, just think good thoughts when your house is metaphorically on fire, but you can't fix what you refuse to face, right? I remember a friend of mine, let's call him Pete. Pete lost a job promotion he'd been working towards for 3 years. His immediate reaction was to put on a brave face, right? He told everyone, oh, it's fine. It's a blessing in disguise. I didn't want to stress anyway. But 3 weeks later, Dave snapped at his barista for sleeping 4 hours a night. And, he was completely miserable. He was agitated. He was all over the place. He wasn't fine. He was grieving, but he refused to admit it because he thought looking adversity in the eye would make him weak. And here's the beautiful concept rooted in modern psychology called affect labeling. All right? Affect labeling, it's a fancy term for a simple truth. When you put your feelings into words, you actually reduce the reactivity of your amygdala, your brain's panic button, right? So stop saying it's fine when it's completely friggin' awful. Okay? Just stop it, right? If it hurts, say it hurts. If you're terrified, See, I'm scared out of my mind right now. Right? It's like turning the light on in a dark room. The monster in the corner usually turns out to be a pile of dirty laundry. It's still a mess you have to clean up, but at least it's not a ghost anymore. Break down the wisdom here, right? Acceptance isn't the same thing as surrender. Acceptance isn't the same thing as surrender. Acceptance is just agreeing to look at the map accurately so you can figure out where to take the next step. Okay? So that's number one. Way number one, name the monster. Way number two, separate the plot from the story. Separate the plot from the story. Right? So let's tap into our inner McConaughey for a minute. Right? Well, it's like a second podcast in a row. I referred to McConaughey. All right. So let's do that. Let's get into our McConaughey. Right. Lean back and look at your life like a movie. Right. In every great movie, the main character gets obviously wrecked in the second act. And if they didn't, you demand your money back at the box office, right? The plot is what happens to you, right? The plot's what happens to you. Company downsizes. Your partner walks away. The market crashed. Those are facts of the script. But the story is the meaning you assign to those facts. All right? Here's the traps we fall into, right? The plot. I got laid off. The story we tell ourselves. I'm a failure. I'll never recover. And I'm fundamentally unlovable. Well, hold on. Who wrote that script? You did. Yeah, you did. I used to do this constantly. And there's somebody very, very close to me who's dealing with it right now, right? If a project failed, I just didn't think the project failed. I thought I was a walking, talking mistake. It was a heavy way to live, man. And there is somebody very, very close to me who's going through the same thing. And they believe they're the only person, no one else in the world would ever have happened to them what they had happen. And it's not true. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of adversity as raw data. Okay? It's an event, not an identity. When you separate the plot from the story, you regain the pen. You get to decide if this chapter is a tragedy or the opening scene of an incredible comeback. The adversity is the plot twist, but you are still the author. So that is number two. So number one, name the monster. Number two, separate the plot from the story. Number three, the 5% pivot. The 5% pivot. So when a massive wave of adversity hits, our natural instinct is to try and fix the whole ocean. Right? We look at the giant mountain of problems and get completely paralyzed by the analysis of it, right? So imagine this. Imagine you're driving down a dark country road at night. Your head's only illuminated about 200 feet in front of you, and you can't see your destination, but you can't see the twist and the turn 5 miles away. But how do you make the entire journey? Just by driving the 200 feet you can see, right? We can only do what we can do. We can only see what we can see, right? When I was going through my worst professional slump, I spent weeks staring at my calendar, completely frozen, trying to figure out how I was going to rebuild my career in a day. It was exhausting. Finally, a good mentor friend of mine looked at me and said, "Hey, what can you do in the next 10 minutes that will make things 5% better?" Folks, that shifted everything. I couldn't fix my revenue in 10 minutes, but I can clean my chaotic desk. I could write one email. I could drink a glass of water. I can take 3 deep breaths. In physics, a tiny shift in trajectory, even a few degrees, completely changes where the rocket lands thousands of miles later. Stop looking for a massive heroic leap that solves everything. Just look for that 5%. That 5% pivot. What is one small, almost ridiculously simple thing you can do right now? What is it? Do that. Then do the next one. Because momentum Momentum is the mortal enemy of adversity. That is number 3, the 5% to pivot. So, number 1, name the monster. Number 2, separate the plot from the story. Number 3, the 5% pivot. Finally, number 4, find the under the hood grace. Find the under the hood grace. Okay, so adversity strips away our armor. It takes the polished, the curated version of ourselves that we present to the world and throws it right out the window. And honestly, thank goodness for that. I mean, think about a vintage car. It looks beautiful sitting in a driveway, gleaming in the sun, but you don't actually know what the car is made of until you pop open the hood and look at the engine. Adversity forces us to look under our own hoods. It shows us our blind spots, our leaky valves, and the areas where we've been running on empty. But here's the secret. It also shows us our baseline strength. Brené Brown talks deeply about the power of vulnerability and leaning into discomfort. When you're in the thick of it, give yourself some grace. You don't have to navigate a crisis elegantly. It's okay if you cry in a car. It is. It's okay if you're screaming at yourself at the top of your lungs in the car. It's okay if your house is messy. Grace means allowing yourself to be a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. And you've survived 100% of your worst days so far. That's a perfect track record. Let that give you a little bit of swagger next time the wind blows hard, okay? You've survived 100% of your worst days. How about that? Give yourself a little pat on the back. So as we wrap this episode up, I just want to leave you with some nice, vague idea to think about while you're driving or folding laundry. I want to give you an actual tool that you can use right now, right? Wherever you are, unless you're driving. In that case, keep your eyes on the road, please. I want you to take a deep breath. Okay. Think about the single biggest challenge or piece of adversity you're facing in your life right now. Right this second. Bring it to mind. I want you to feel the weight of it. Okay? Now, I want you to run it through a 3-step reality check. And we're going to call it the pen and page exercise. So number 1, acknowledge it. Write it down, say it out loud without sugarcoating it. Exactly what the hell is wrong? This situation is incredibly hard. I feel overwhelmed. Name the monster. All right? Number 2, strip the script. Strip the script. Ask yourself, what are the pure, unvarnished facts of this situation? And what is the extra dramatic story I'm spinning around it? Cross out the story and stick to the facts. Number 3, the 5% micro step. Write down 5% micro step, all right? 5% micro step. Write down one action you can take in the next hour that will make you feel 5% more in control. It can be as small as texting a friend for help, opening up a spreadsheet, or going on a 5-minute walk to clear your head. That's it. 3 steps. Acknowledge it, strip the script, 5% micro step. All right? Now, adversity is not a detour from your life, my friends. It is life. It's the friction that creates the polish. It's the resonance that builds the muscle, right? You're entirely capable of handling the heavy lifting. You can do it. You can do it. Thanks for listening to the Catalyst Motivation Podcast. If this episode hit you, why don't you share it with someone who might need a reminder that they're not alone? And as always, keep showing up because the world needs you. Like and subscribe to our podcast for more motivational content. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok for even more inspiration. And please don't forget about our book, The Ways of Compromise. It's out now on digital and paperback. And thank you so much for listening and joining us for episode 153 of the Catalyst Podcast. We look forward to seeing you again for episode 154. Go be great.